Welcome. I'm Lois McCluckey. I'm Head of Marketing for HotDocs. Thank you for joining us today for our To Cloud or Not to Cloud webinar. I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Graham Penman. Graham heads up the HotDocs Global Services team, and he works with our clients every day to implement and integrate our document automation solutions. I'll now hand over to Graham to talk you through the presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Lois has mentioned, my name's Graham. I head up global services at HotDocs, and it's a great opportunity this afternoon to talk to you about cloud and the theme of to cloud or not to cloud, where I'm going to take you through some of my experience talking to many organizations of many sizes across many industries who have either been looking at cloud or have an on-premise solution looking to move to cloud. And that's the great part about my role here, is I get to talk to so many different people and I get to see trends firsthand within the spaces in which we work, whether that is people who are looking at document automation, which is the technology that HotDocs delivers, or looking at next to technologies like e-signatures, BPM tools, CRM, that may have a little bit of document automation involved in it. I've just come back from a recent trip to the Far East where the features of cloud and that side of our technology featured heavily. So I'd like to deliver and give you some of that feedback and some of the trends that I saw when I was away on the trip. So first of all, just to kind of set the scene, when we talk about cloud, cloud can mean many different things to different people. So we have kind of different flavors of cloud as well. And I'd like to just take you through the kind of high levels of it. First of all, we have public cloud. Publicly accessible. The cloud is publicly available. It's where you're logging into applications through a website provided by another party. It's where the technology is hosted in a public domain. It's where you don't deploy things on your own premise, but you deploy it or take advantage of services provided by someone else. And they have all the different security around the application. They have all the different provisos around the technology itself. And then we have something else called private cloud. Now, for the purposes of this presentation, we're going to negate private cloud. Private cloud is where you have all your internal servers and you decide on a cloud strategy. You have everything installed on your local infrastructure within your own organization, and you decide you want to move that out from your own building. So in your data center or your servers or your local PCs, you decide you want to move that out and have somebody else manage all that. But it's not publicly accessible, so you would move that into a private cloud environment. And today I'm not really talking about private cloud. I'll be talking mostly about public and a little bit about the last one, which is hybrid cloud, where you maybe have some services in a cloud somewhere provided by another cloud provider, and you then have other applications you have internally that are provided and hosted by yourselves. So we have this kind of hybrid going on. So there's the kind of three flavors of cloud: public, private, and also hybrid. And I'm going to focus on primarily the public and a little bit of hybrid. And when we look around at the technology trends within moving applications to the cloud, I'm just going to bring up a few of the most well-known brands who are providing cloud services. And we've seen a reticence potentially over the last, since cloud was kind of coming out in the mid-2000s, that we were looking at how do organizations move to consume services provided by other people. They don't host everything. Most of us will remember when we had Exchange servers, and a lot of companies still do have their own email servers hosted on their own premise. But we see a massive move now for people to have their email hosted. So you look at Gmail. A lot of personal accounts hosted online with their email accounts. Office 365, the migration away from Microsoft Exchange server locally into a cloud environment. And when that first happened, there was a lot of reticence to move to that because of the perceived security implications of moving personal data into the cloud. But we see a massive uptake on Office 365. And then we see things like CRM systems, things like Salesforce, where you have all your customer data stored in a very secure location on Salesforce, providing data analytics. And you have one source of truth for all your data, but it's harnessed and it's kept within the cloud. We then have things like Box and Dropbox. So at home, all of my photos, all of my documents, everything that I used to keep on my laptop or on an external hard disk, I now save directly onto Dropbox itself. It's all synced up with all my other devices with portability to be able to have access anywhere to all of my files. And Dropbox primarily focuses on the consumer end, although it does have Dropbox Business. We now have something called Box. And we're currently implementing a project with a large bank who are moving their document storage to a cloud environment, a cloud provider via Box. And then we move over into the more kind of infrastructure where people are hosting entire data farms. People are hosting their servers and their systems in Microsoft Azure or Amazon EC2, providing a cloud managed service and hosting all their information there. And this is just snowballing over the last few years. The amount of data that we store in the cloud and some of the original security concerns that people would have now been taken away because of the security and the infrastructure that cloud providers now have to provide as part of their service. So we saw that kind of initial migration from just email, then into CRM, then into documents, and now we're looking at the next evolution of cloud, where almost their entire infrastructure is going to be hosted externally to an organization. So what does that really mean? What does that mean in practice? So we have all these different tools, all these different applications hosted on a public cloud, publicly accessible. What does this actually mean in terms of your organization, small, medium, or large? Well, I'm going to look at some key trends this afternoon. So in the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to look at the key trends that I've seen. And well, first of all, I'm going to be looking at customer engagement. How does cloud technology aid the customer engagement that you have with the people that you provide services to? Whether that is legal firms providing legal services, banks dealing with their customers, or professional services organization dealing with any number of different things. Next, I'm going to be looking at consolidation. And when I say consolidation, I'm going to be talking about all the current systems that you have and the rationalization process of taking them down from thousands of systems to 5 to 10 key providers of those services and what cloud can do about it. And lastly, I'm going to be looking at connectivity. What does connectivity mean for cloud and how does cloud benefit that? But I'm also going to be looking at it into some of the perceived issues that people have when moving into cloud in terms of connectivity as well. What does that mean for my data security? What does that mean for my hosting? What does that mean for my infrastructure? And I'm going to just take a few of those things and go through them one by one. So first of all, customer engagement. What do I mean by that? Well, in today's world, we're all about on-demand services. And if you look at the trends in consumer services, take something like a Netflix. When you want to get access to some content, you log in through their website. You get access to all this rich content instantly, and you get instant gratification from being able to access that content. It's on-demand services. And as we look to specific industries, take legal, banking, potentially insurance, and a few others, you look at how consumers of those services are looking to be served in a different way. And they're looking for that information to be delivered instantly to them. So that instant gratification, that instant access to information, that on-demand service is now moving into business to consumer and business to business systems as well. And not only are people looking for that on-demand, that instant gratification of what they need right now, they're also looking to have some innovative engagement with customers and service providers. So you look at, I was on a flight with Air New Zealand, and they have a system on their flight where if you want something to eat or drink, you basically bring up your touchpad on the back of the seat in front of you, you view their menu, you type in and find from their shopping basket, from their menu what you'd like, you add it to the basket, click checkout, and then a few minutes later, the cabin crew come down and bring you what you ordered. Now, the reason I mention that, it's a bit of a pithy example, is because it was quite innovative. I've never seen that happen before on a plane, and I've told everybody about it when I come back. So if you have innovative engagement with your customers, your brand level goes up and people talk about the services that they've delivered, and then you get more custom from that. And customers are looking for that innovative engagement, and cloud solutions allow you that because they allow access to the public. They allow you to give access in innovative ways to the people who you serve. And that brings me neatly onto self-service. So I've talked about on-demand services, innovative engagements, and more the kind of routine day-to-day tasks, the things that can be automated, can be pushed out. They can be put to your customer to then have a self-serve portal. So if you think about document automation and the creation of a document, the things that are routine, that are standardized, that can be given as a portal. That could be given to your customer to be able to fill in the information, to be able to self-serve documents and knowledge. And again, that drives that on-demand and that innovative engagement with your customers. And it means that the internal resources in your organization could then focus on other areas of the business, as well as being able to provide better self-service applications or services to your customers. And the long and the short of these few things are that customer satisfaction goes up. And customer satisfaction is the key thing for return business. You want to be innovative, you want to be keeping customers, and you want them to be referral customers over to other people as well. And these three things can help with that customer satisfaction and help with the collaboration and transparency between you and your customers, or even your internal customers. So when I talk about customers here, we may be talking about a couple of different customers. We could talk about external customers to your business, so people who you sell services to, but it could also be internal customers where your IT team are serving their customers, which would be the internal business users. So the customer engagement could be when you're creating documents and allowing self-serve documents for internal people to do internal processes as well. And finally, instant update. Now, the reason I mention this at this point is that with cloud solutions, you're getting the most up-to-date version every single day of the application. So with our cloud service, we push updates every 2 days into the cloud, but we have a release cycle for on-premise that is every couple of months that we send out. And it means that if you're on a cloud service, every single new feature that gets added gets implemented straight away into your solution. And that means customers, every time they go back in, can see something new, something different, something that they might get value out of and be able to utilize that technology even better. So on-demand services, innovative engagement, self-service, customer satisfaction, collaboration, and instant update in terms of your customer engagement. And cloud can absolutely benefit those areas. When I was out in Australia, that was one of the biggest things that we talked about, was in the legal marketplace, how do you sell services? How do you add added value services and make them available to your customers? Second key trend, consolidation. And this is one of the big things that I've been talking about, particularly with organizations that have been going on for that have been around for a long time. And consolidation takes into account legacy systems. So we all have these applications and systems in our organization that we've had for a long time. We've been running for 20 years, they just work, but they're slightly inefficient and potentially out of support. But you know what, they work anyway, and we're going to keep running until Microsoft decides that they're no longer supporting the server version that they're on, then we have to move off. So we all have these legacy systems in our organization. And we also have outdated processes. So we have the phrase, well, we've always done it this way, therefore that's the way we're going to continue doing it. Well, we do have outdated processes, but we have lots of new technology that we can pull in and bring in to make those processes better. And cloud offers you an opportunity to be able to add those services in a really innovative and quick way. And we also have point solutions. And what I mean about point solutions is a technology or application that has been put in particularly to serve one purpose. And then over the years, the purpose has been changed, the purpose has been migrated, the purpose of that system has been skewed and manipulated to do lots of things. And an application that was first bought to do one particular thing now does 20 other things it wasn't particularly designed for. And we have a problem of upgrade. We have a problem of being able to add additional features or connect it to other systems. And we get to the point where it just doesn't do any of the jobs it was meant to do correctly. So we have some problems with our organization having thousands of different systems that have legacy, outdated processes, and also point solutions that have morphed into Frankensteins of a system. But cloud offers the opportunity because it is slightly different. It offers the opportunity to move to strategic services. So the ability to be able to pick a provider for a certain technology and make that technology that's best of breed do everything around what it's good at. So if you look at HotDocs, the strategic solution for HotDocs would be that you do every piece of document automation through that one solution. That could be anything from an HR document generation all the way through to share purchase agreements in a law firm, to commercial loan agreements in a bank, to insurance policy documents in an insurance company, statements of work for project management. But in that one company, every document that gets assembled can use that strategic service as a solution. So it becomes from point solutions, outdated process, and legacy into something strategic, that one provider that does that one area for you and can connect to other systems to do so. And that means it becomes maintainable. That means that that system, that one system becomes maintainable for your organization. You're not trying to make a point solution that you have do something it's not meant to. You're not trying to update outdated processes. You're not trying to build into legacy systems, but you have an up-to-date, maintainable solution provided as a service. And lastly, it becomes scalable. When you have that one solution providing that core functionality for you, it becomes scalable, and especially in the cloud, because cloud providers, one of their duties is to provide scalability out the box that can handle load. It can handle if you transfer from doing 100 documents a month to 3,000 documents a month to 10,000 a month, that we can handle that scalability. It's baked into the product. You're not having to spin up your own servers. You're not having to spin up other applications and take up valuable resources to cope with load. It automatically scales for you. So cloud solutions can become strategic, they can become maintainable because you don't have anything on your organization's organizational needs to be able to upgrade or maintain that application. And they're also highly scalable built in. So we're really looking at consolidating a lot of organizations' best of breed systems into services, and they can provide those services flawlessly to the organization. So you end up taking 3,000 systems and you pick 10 of the core areas and implement those ones and migrate across into them. And last but not least, really, connectivity. And this is where cloud solutions really start to show their purpose. Because the first thing I'm going to put up here is that APIs are king. And what I mean by that is I mean that APIs should rule every single cloud solution. Cloud solutions are built for connectivity. They're built to be integrated with. They're built to be services. Because they're on our infrastructure, because they're in an organization's infrastructure, say Dropbox hosts theirs there, Box hosts theirs over there, Dynamics CRMs over here, because they're hosted in different places, they must be able to be connected. And that has to be inherent from a cloud solution. And APIs are king because the APIs allow those connectivity. And for those who don't know what an API is, it's an application programming interface. It allows software, allows code written by engineers to be able to connect to certain pieces of functionality within the application. So from HotDocs perspective, an API would be to assemble a document. So we have something that provides system integrators, software engineers, developers to be able to connect to that to assemble documents in the background. So APIs are king. They're fundamental to cloud solutions. Integration. I've already talked about this in my first point, but cloud solutions need to be able to be integrated. And this is a key point, I guess, from a HotDocs perspective, is we are an organization who focus on document assembly. We focus on the ability to be able to transform documents into templates and then have the ability for those templates to be used to produce multiple documents at the very end. So you need to have ability to be able to connect your systems into them. So we have things like CRM connectors, document management connectors, because HotDocs is a part of an ecosystem. It can be used as an end-to-end solution, so producing a document from a template and have all the other features around it. But a lot of the time, the documents that produce has to go to a document management system. The data that goes in comes from your CRM. The process of creating the documents managed by a business process management system. So with a cloud solution, all these things have to be integrated because they're all need to be connected but hosted in different places. And that leads me on to service-oriented architecture. Now, SOA is a geeky architectural word, geeky technology word for people who do architecture within software, to just say that actually you treat every single application that you have as an independent service. So the independent service can be connected to other things as well. So the service-oriented architecture allows document automation to reside in one place and be connected to lots of different sources. And that brings to the enterprise service bus, which is just an implementation of a service-oriented architecture, and basically a service bus marshals data, it pushes and pulls data from lots of different systems and connects it all together. And most importantly, switch on, switch off services. And what I mean by that is these cloud services should be designed to be able to be used in the most relevant places within your organization. So you can switch them on to do a certain purpose and they can be there, but you don't have to use them for anything else. And then when you need them somewhere else, you switch them on for that service as well. And you can use them as a switch on, switch off kind of way. So you're never tied to just using it for that one purpose. You can move off and use it for different purposes throughout your processes throughout your organization. So APIs are king. Integration is of utmost importance. They can be used in service-oriented architectures through an enterprise service bus, and they're switch on, switch off. And that's probably the most techie slide that I've got on today's webinar. But those are the three key trends that we see: is collaboration, and it was collaboration through customer engagement, connectivity, that with other systems, and consolidating all your platforms into key providers that connect together to produce overall solutions. So that brings us to kind of the point of what we were here to discuss, which is to cloud or not to cloud. What does this actually mean? Well, cloud services provide mobility, collaboration, and business continuity. Kind of out the box, that's what they should provide. They're a service that's provided to you to allow you to do a function, but you don't have all the internal costs of hosting it yourself. So for you, in your organization, if you're looking to potentially not have to have as many servers sitting on your on-premise or have things installed on your desktop, cloud's a great way to go. If you do have infrastructure and you want to host it internally, that's absolutely fine. But cloud potentially makes it easier for mobility purposes because you don't have to host it in DMZ, a demilitarized zone in your organization, to allow external access. It takes that piece of infrastructure away and allows you to just have it publicly facing for your users to be able to access. And business continuity is very important because cloud solutions, if if you need to have backups and recovery, that's all managed by the cloud provider themselves. Whereas if you have it hosted internally, you're responsible for that backup and recovery for your disaster recovery and business continuity planning. And it's scalable to the demands of the service. I mentioned this earlier on. Cloud, we build our cloud in order to cope with scale. So when peak times come up, we spin up more environments to be able to cope with that demand automatically. It's built into our products. Whereas if you deploy it on premise, you're responsible again for coping with that demand and coping with the hit of that service. So if you go to 1,000 documents in a day, you may have to cope with having that additional infrastructure. Again, instance updates with new features, we push features out every couple of days, so cloud gets that, whereas with on-premise, you wait for a release and then you can upgrade and install. And it's a common framework for all customers. This is one of the big things, is that if you are using HotDocs on the cloud today, everybody else who has HotDocs on the cloud has exactly the same version as you. You're staying on the same platform. You have exactly the same copy of HotDocs as everybody else. So nobody's getting anything more, nobody's getting anything less. You get exactly the same features. Again, I've harped on to death about that integration platforms for connectivity. And there's less reliance on internal IT to be able to support cloud infrastructure against having an on-premise. And data sovereignty and security is a big one. So that's one of the key things, is with cloud solutions, where your data is hosted, who hosts that data and who has access to that data. And that's why we offer hybrid solutions as well. And that's where hybrid comes in, is where you're using transient data to do data processing in the cloud, but the data resides potentially in your organization. So the ability to be able to have everything publicly, and the ability to be able to have some things hosted in your organization but using a cloud service provider as well, becomes of paramount importance. And we're doing a massive amount of work here at HotDocs for data sovereignty and security to ensure that for our users. So how can we help? Well, this is going to take just 30 seconds on who we are as HotDocs. And for those who really don't know a little bit about what we do, but we help our customers with compliance and risk. And we help them to ensure that their documents that they produce are accurate, that they're maintainable. So when they are producing documents, that they contain all the relevant information in order to make them compliant to the rules and regulations of the governing industry bodies that you're in, and to make your document comprehensive, that they contain everything they need to make it a compliant document, and reduce the risk that documents go out without the relevant sections, the relevant data and points within it. And also helping with standardization. So how do you make sure that documents have the right branding, headers and footers, cross-references, fonts, tables of contents? How do you make sure that every document that comes out is approved and branded in the right way? And finally, efficiency. How do you make sure you take the perceived overhead of compliance and standardization, but actually make your document automation process and your document production process more efficient? So we provide tools that allow people to create non-technical business users to take documents they produce on a regular basis in Word or PDF and find all the changeable pieces of information, the business rules, and insert HotDocs placeholders in them. So we create templates in Word. And then once you have that template, you can then give it to end users who consume it via a web browser on any device that allows them to fill in the information in an intelligent data capturing tool called the HotDocs Interview, that then can be pull data from other systems and then send into our intelligent document assembly engine to then produce a document or a suite of related documents, and really store that data for later to then be reused across multiple templates. So people can create templates and then publish them to then be consumed by other users who then produce documents from them. So that's a little bit about HotDocs. We're a document automation provider, and we'd love to be able to tell you a little bit more about that. So if you have any other questions, we can email them to marketing@hotdocs.co.uk, or you can go to the website at hotdocs.com. So that's really it from me. Cloud is a technology and a platform that allows you to be able to do customer collaboration, connectivity, and consolidation across your applications, just as three kind of key trends that we've picked up on over the last couple of months. So I hope that's been informative for you. We've just turned onto the half an hour time slot now, but I'm more than happy to take any questions that have potentially come in. And I forgot to say that at the start, there is a question bar there. So Lois, I don't know if you've got any questions that you would want to ask. I'm just looking
Yeah, there's a couple of questions that have come in while you've been talking. So somebody's asked, what is the difference between the HotDocs cloud solution and on-premise solution?
Okay. So we provide two different solutions. We have an on-premise solution and we have a cloud solution. They are identical is the short answer. Whatever you can do on the cloud, you can do on-premise. It is exactly the same solution and it's exactly the same code base. It's just that we push one out earlier into the cloud every couple of days. So, yep.
Okay, thanks. There's another one come in that's just asking if you personally have any experience from your travels on how to mitigate risks associated with large-scale rollouts on a cloud-based solution.
Whew.
Around your instant updates that you were
Oh,
talking
okay.
about.
Yeah, okay. So mitigating, sorry, that was mitigating large-scale rollouts of cloud in organizations. Okay, so when you're dealing with cloud, it is very different. You have different kind of environments to be able to put your technology in. And I guess the key thing is if you're either migrating onto a cloud platform or moving across to one, you've got to go through the right process to be able to get that set up and the right process to be able to test things end to end to make sure that your users are on board with the move to cloud, that they understand how the cloud is going to differ from how they've interacted with software before, and also how your organization handles their security policies and things like that. And most of our time with our cloud solution, it's really not about the technology. The technology does everything it needs to do and everyone's happy with that. It's mostly around what's your company's cloud policy and what does that mean for their interaction with vendors. So more and more we're spending our time on information assurance. So making sure our customers understand what our policies are in terms of data security, sovereignty, and things like that, and making your customers aware of what their responsibilities are with cloud, and us to make you aware of what our responsibilities are too. But I could probably follow up with a more in-depth answer after this webinar to that question.
Okay, thanks, Graham. I think we've just got time for one more. So somebody has asked, in what circumstances do you see companies opting for a hybrid solution?
Well, that's a good question. So again, I kind of come back to the ability for you to be able to decide where your data is hosted. So if you think about organizations where you maybe have a duty-bound contract with a customer to not store their data out with your organization. So that could be one thing where you want your data has to be at rest. And when I mean at rest, the tables in the database have to be on your infrastructure or somewhere owned by you. But they can be used for that data can be used for transactional process in the cloud. So that data has to be stored in your organization. So think of what could be, it could be a law firm, something like that, where you have a contractual obligation to not let data be at rest anywhere else in the world. But it can be sent out, processed, and then sent back and then deleted in the cloud. And that's covered by your policy. So you may want to have a hybrid approach where data resides on your on-premise, but you use the processing power of the cloud to do the high-level processing, then return the results of that back into your internal data center or something like that. So that's really more like a high-level approach to a hybrid solution for that.
Okay, thank you, Graham. That's really all we've got time for because we're kind of over the half-hour slot. So any other questions that have come in, we will answer by email for you.
Perfect. Well, I guess all there is to say now is thank you very much for coming on this webinar. I hope that was helpful for you and we look forward to speaking to you very soon. So thank you very much.